council meeting is called to order at 8:32 a.m. Present at the meeting are council members President John Wilson, Councilman Kevin Charbonneau, virtually appearing Councilman Chris Vachon, Councilman Clark Curtis, staff members are Treasurer and City Clerk James Johnson, Programs Director Comptroller Rebecca Cherian, additional staff department heads Travis Bingham and Tom Bernier. I have members of the fire department here. Anyone I'm missing, please, I apologize if I can see you. And Kevin Lacoste, interim fire chief, is appearing virtually. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 2, additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda. President Wilson?
No.
Councilman Charbonneau?
None.
Councilman Vachon?
No, thank you.
Councilman Curtis?
No.
Treasurer Johnson? Okay, I have a deadline specific issue that's arisen that was actually not timely acted upon or brought to the current council's attention by the former leadership, so this issue needs immediate correction. And so I would move to add to the agenda the authority for the mayor to enter into a side agreement with an employee to be authorized once the employee gives the final approval of the agreement. This could be a potential executive session and possible vote. So may I have a motion to add that to the agenda item?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second.
Public comment.
All those. Motion and a second. I will allow you to speak when you're recognized, so please do not call out.
Well, it seems
Please do not call. I have a motion and a second. Yes.
so we went through this the last time that you tried to add additions and deletions under a special meeting. And during the response to that notice of violation, you cited the statute that pertains to meetings in general, but you totally ignored section C2. And section C2 says that the time, place, and purpose of a special meeting shall be publicly announced 24 hours before the meeting. And so special meetings are handled differently under the statute than normal agenda, normal meetings, and therefore, unless it is, the purpose of the meeting is notice to the public 24 hours, it's not allowable by statute. And you can have a multi-purpose meeting, but all of the purposes need to be noticed.
Thank you for your comment. Any further discussion by the council? I have a motion and a second. Ready for the question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, and the motion is carried. I'm going to put that specific agenda item towards the end. The next item on the agenda is comments by the public. We're going to be opening the floor to public comment for each agenda item. Members of the audience are reminded that members of the press are present and that these proceedings are being recorded for current and future broadcast over the city's cable television channel. Members of the audience are further reminded that Newport City Council members are for the purpose of allowing council members to conduct city business. City council meetings are the only time the city council discusses, deliberates, and decides upon city matters. City council meetings are held in public to promote transparency and accountability in government, but are distinct from public hearings or town meetings in that they are not meetings of the public. Members of the public shall be afforded a reasonable opportunity to express opinions about matters considered by the city council. To conduct orderly and efficient meetings, I kindly request the public's cooperation and compliance with the published guidelines when participating in the meeting, and I thank you. The next item, public comments. Ms. Bierling, please come in, identify yourself, your relationship, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, Jennifer Bierling, resident Newport, Vermont. I just wanted to speak to a post that I saw in Vermont Rocks this past week, where it appears that Ms. Lads was using the audit for the city as some sort of controlling document defining the form of government in Newport. And at first blush, I kind of chuckled. And then I took it more seriously when I realized that Mayor Sullivan had given it a thumbs up, and clearly that is an endorsement by the mayor of the Post. The parts that were clipped out of the audit, I mean, they're nothing more than introductory paragraphs to a report submitted to the city by a third-party vendor. And if it was a third-party vendor selling rock salt to the city and they gave their opinion of what the form of government was, I don't think that it would be given much credence. But alas, these opening paragraphs of a third-party vendor seem to work for the objectives of the people involved, and so here we have it. The Post also basically called out Mr. Minette, saying that he had endorsed the opening paragraphs in terms of them being a controlling authority for the form of government for Newport. And I've been at all those meetings, and that's not true. What Mr. Minette endorsed were the numbers contained in the audits themselves, namely the cash flow statements and the profit and loss statements. And what we really have going on here is projection, and it's not our former mayor that's endorsing the audit as a controlling authority for the form of government, but rather our current mayor that's endorsing it as an authority for our current government. And then when I looked at the parts that were clipped out at closer length, it struck me that they line up with the charter, actually, so they don't support this illusion that somehow this misinformation that Ms. Ladd speaks to is actually ongoing. The information that I presented from the charter last week is solid, spot on.
30 seconds.
And this document supports it. In the opening paragraph, the audit lists the city manager as part of the form of government, and the mayor has taken the city manager out completely on the website. And then the second component that they cite is related to policy. And policy, even under the charter, is clearly set by the city council. And it is the city manager that administers the policy. And so when the council voted on November 6th to start the search process, they took on the form of the city manager form of government. And why the mayor feels she can unilaterally remove that is beyond me. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the fire department extrication equipment order with an anticipated vote. May I have a motion that the council approve the Newport Fire Department extrication equipment order as presented?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Comment? Okay, discussion with the council. Before I recognize any of the fire department members who are here, I would just like to say that this was brought to our attention. It came in with a deadline specific, and it came in after our last meeting. So we had to deal with this in a special meeting because our deadline has to be done by December 31st. And so there are issues with equipment and getting new equipment for safety purposes for our fire department as well as for the people of Newport and the other areas that the fire department services. So I'm going to recognize, please, Interim Chief, would you like to take this and explain the equipment and the need? And before I do pass that over to you, I am going to say that I, as well, with the chief and with the comptroller, had had conversations before the holiday with the vendors, discussing the equipment to see what could be done, what couldn't be done, and to see how important that this was. So, Chief, please feel free. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I do have a couple of great representatives there, and probably will let them address most of what's going on. Chuck has the packet. I think, Madam Mayor, I had given you a copy of kind of exactly the same thing that we have, so that everyone's kind of on the same page. Again, my apologies, our apologies for calling everybody in, especially on this holiday week. We really appreciate your time and effort. So it was kind of brought to our attention, I don't know, maybe a month ago, kind of in casual conversation, that our Jaws of Life, our extrication equipment, had some issues after a scheduled maintenance operation. So we started looking into it, and the information that you have in front of you was sent. I believe it's Chad that was actually our contact, because I couldn't seem to find a report or anything on actually what had happened and what had gone on. So the report in front of you kind of states that as of 2023, the Jaws that we have, the equipment that we have, is no longer supported by Homartro, meaning that they will not be producing any replacement parts, etc. You know, they just, that series is 20 plus years old, and the equipment is getting outdated. Upon his inspection, he did find a couple of items that were, I believe there's a foot pump in there noted. I don't have the notes in front of me, I apologize, but I believe there was a foot pump that failed. And then there was something else that he was going to take back to his shop to see if he had the parts to be repaired. So the other part of this is, you know, this extrication equipment to me is almost like a cell phone. You know, you buy it today, and within a couple of years, of course, there's newer, better, greater. Well, the problem is with a cell phone, you may just miss a few real great new features, but with this extrication equipment, the problem is the new vehicles are coming out with newer, stronger metals and steel that are supporting their cars. They're trying to make everything lighter, but meantime, they're coming out with a stronger, lighter material. It's been noted that our Jaws no longer have the capability of cutting certain materials that are in a lot of newer cars. And to that end, you know, not saying that the equipment wouldn't work, but it just is not up to par where it should be. The other part of this is the Jaws at this point are just, they're on their way out. You know, they're basically worth nothing. With no support from Homartro, there's no way to have the tools worth any amount of value. So we had, one of our members is on also, or two of our members are also on Orleans Fire. They just went through the same thing and had to replace their extrication equipment. They did their due diligence and had a couple, 3 or 4 different vendors come in and demo new equipment to replace. Out of all the demonstrations, and they basically took place the same night, out of all the demonstrations, with Homartro that we have now, came out clearly on top. So we invited the vendor to come up and demo for ourselves. Councilmember Vachon was there the night that we did have the demo, as he was a liaison, and we appreciate everything he does. But I was super glad that he was there to see the difference in the equipment and what it can do. Again, this is a matter of life safety. I realize that this equipment isn't always used a lot, but I think, you know, the old adage of preparing for the worst and hoping for the best is the way we need to go. I mean, I would hate to think that we had an accident, and last week we had a rollover up on West Avenue, West Main Street, and I'll tell you, there were some real tense moments there because the equipment that we have, I wondered, is it going to do what we need to do? The other part of that is we're having a little bit of trouble with the generator on on Rescue 5. The generator needs to be running to run the hydraulics that run the hydraulic extrication tools. At this point, everyone is like super busy with equipment failures on their own. We're trying to get it in to get it fixed. But there's too many points of possible failures here between the hydraulics off the truck, hydraulic hoses, hydraulic tools. The new tools are all battery operated. They're super easy to use. They're super powerful. And we're eliminating, again, some of the failure points. Hydraulics. We're also eliminating the need for an individual firefighter to be at that truck constantly to run the hydraulics. And as we all know, it's getting tough to get people to respond between jobs and commitments. The more people that we can have actually on the accident scene itself is very beneficial. I guess I don't really have too much else other than, this equipment, as we see in the pack, that this equipment that he's pricing us out to replace is, 110 after the first of the year. It's going up to 130. The technology is a little more, there's going to be some things on there that we just don't need. Bluetooth, for example, on the new Jaws, and just some things that we really don't need. I just feel that this is probably an opportune time to replace this equipment and really get the city in a position where we know that we have the equipment to do what we need to do. With your permission, Madam Mayor, I'd like to have Chuck and anyone else there comment. I'm sure I forgot something. That seems like I'm rambling on here, but just trying to pull bits and pieces.
No, thank you for that. I am going to recognize Mr. Newton, but I just wanted to reiterate, I do have the report, Chief, in front of me. And it does say that the current 3000 series that you actually have right now is no longer available or supported. Your hydraulic pumps are no longer available or supported. Your manual backup foot pump was actually removed from service and it cannot be repaired, and your spreader was taken back to the shop. Attempted repairs, only if parts could be located, but your 3000 series tools and pumps that were supported for over 25 years have been discontinued for support of your product line. So the key right now, I just want to make sure that what we talked about, it was disclosed to the council members, and we do have that report. Fireman Newton?
I think Kevin handled it very well. Just to clarify on one thing that he said, in case it wasn't quite clear, the new, let's say the 2024 model year of the extrication equipment is the model that has the Bluetooth and some of those features that we don't feel that we need, and so don't feel that we would want or need to pay that extra, $20,000 to get those features after the first of the year. So yeah, we are kind of in a really niche moment right now where we can get the equipment at lesser cost than what it would be in a few days, and it meets everything we need and isn't lacking anything, and doesn't have things that we don't need either.
Thank you. So also, Comptroller helped with finding financing. That's in your packet, as you can see, so we could choose a financing package as opposed to hitting you with cash as well. And when we were on the phone, when the chief and the comptroller and myself were on the phone with the suppliers, we did have them agree that if in fact there was any issue with delivery of 2023 and they had to go into 2024, whatever it was, they would make it compatible and keep the 2023 price. So, Chief, have I relayed enough of the information? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we kind of covered everything.
Council members, any questions?
How long will these new jaws last?
Well, if history shows, I mean, our current set of jaws were bought brand new, literally 20 years ago. And the information in here says that that model was made for 25 years. To say how long they're gonna be supported would be to guess what Homatro is going to do. I mean, technology is changing all the time, but if history shows, they'll be supported for quite a while into the future.
Thank you.
It looks like if we need the equipment, then we just have to decide whether we wanna go for 5, 7, or 10 years.
Correct.
Right now, I would opt for the 7-year one.
I was gonna go for the 7 year as well, so.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Curtis?
I'm on board with a 7-year
7?
financing.
7 years.
Okay. So I have the motion, I have the second.
Well, let's do it right. I'll make the motion and we go ahead with option 2, which is a 7-year lease payment purchase.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments, Ms. Scott?
Laurie Grimm, Newport. I'm just wondering, we talked about batteries, we all know how batteries act. Are these batteries rechargeable? Are they replaceable? How does
Yeah.
all that is
So-
figured in?
So the quote, so yes, first off, they are lithium-ion rechargeable batteries. They are replaceable. They are actually just like any other power tool that you would buy. The battery is a separate unit. In fact, part of this quote contains extra batteries to have on hand. I spoke, and this is just an interesting side note, I spoke with a firefighter from South Burlington last night. They, of course, have had battery-operated tools for a while now. They've actually had battery-operated tools for about 8 or 9 years. They say that the batteries are still working just as well today as they did when they were brand new. So the longevity and the quality of these batteries is high. These are very high-quality batteries.
And this quote comes for the batteries and the chargers, so.
Yeah, batteries for the tools, plus spares and chargers that will charge a spare battery, but also charge the tool at the same time. So it's all very well laid out to give maximum capability and maximum runtime.
So, Madam Mayor, may I add?
You may.
So yeah, Chuck, great job. And also in reference to the batteries, the advantage of the Homatro tools are that the battery is only being used as the tool is being activated. So in other words, there isn't like an on-off switch. When you turn the handle on the jaws, that's when the battery is being used. As soon as you release the handle, there is no battery juice, I guess, that's being used from the tool itself. So the batteries are super durable. The chargers are beyond belief. I mean, compared to what battery operated tools were, even 10 years ago. So, but that was one of the big advantages also of the Homatro compared to the other ones. The other ones, you turn the switch on and they stay activated all the time using battery voltage. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only other thing I have on this is, if we go with the option 2, we have enough time to lock this in at the 2023 price?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 days?
As I understand it, they probably just need a purchase order to lock.
Okay.
And we did they did tell us that if we told them we were having the council meeting, they would put it on their order sheet, provided it was approved. So once it's approved, we're all set.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just for clarification, we're talking about the 2023 model.
Correct. Right, the 110.
110, 102.
Right. The only time that would change would be if it was on the vendor side, and if they had an issue, then they would adjust and correct and upgrade at the same price.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Madam Mayor,
Chris from Newport Daily Express. I'd like to have a copy of the packet that you're looking at. And again, what is the bottom line for this equipment? Who are you buying it from? Who are you financing from? And what is the interest?
Okay. So when you say a packet that I'm looking at, you meant the report?
Yeah, exactly, the report, yes.
Okay. I will give you that, and it will have the vendor on there, and it will have all that information
Okay.
that you asked for.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I think you probably need a second motion to do the financing piece.
Well, we did, okay, we can do that, yes, so we can amend.
Because this
Yeah,
needs
we
to be signed.
incorporated it on the second,
Right,
right?
because this needs to be signed.
So may I have a motion to sign the financing agreement?
And that's gonna be with
Municipal
municipal
leasing.
consultants.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
The motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. And I thank you for that, and I want me to
I'll
sign
have to
it.
get you a clean copy.
Sounds
This
good.
one's mine.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to give you this packet with G for Chris's purposes.
Madam Mayor, is the interest rate on there?
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 7-year one that we chose.
What's the estimated,
And it's all in there, so.
what's the estimated delivery date?
We don't know, the order will go through, so they said if there's any delays whatsoever, they have loaners, et cetera, to get us. So we don't have a delivery date because we have to finalize everything to get it over to them. However, I don't anticipate, based upon all of our discussions, that there will be any issues. Is that correct, my fireman?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. They did estimate, I think, 5 to 6
5 to
weeks.
6 weeks.
Okay, so do they have to be built, or are they off the shelf? I mean, you know, for big equipment like fire trucks, have to be specially ordered. Is this something that's already built, ready to go, or do they have, is it built to order?
It's my understanding they're purchasing these specific parts. And if they have a delay on a part that's not being specifically built, that's being ordered and purchased, that they have loaners that they will allow them to use. So it's not like a fire truck that you're adding
Right.
things to.
Right, so they being the vendor.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, moving to the next item. Ratify the A&R categorical recycling facility certification application and anticipated vote. May I have a motion to approve the A&R categorical recycling facility certification application and ratify its signing by the mayor?
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any comments? Yes.
Could you explain what this is? For those of us who don't
Yeah,
know.
so the recycling facilities and the actual Department of Waste Management, we have to be certified. And this was not put through timely, so we had to have this signed so that we can keep the certification, so that we can continue to be, do our recycling and stuff.
So this is our local recycling
Yes.
facility? How often do you have to do the application?
Any comments or discussion? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Okay, we're now going to go to the agenda item that was added. I'm going to ask for a motion to please move into executive session. And this is the motion regarding the side agreement with an employee. May I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Don't we have to at least put, what,
Yeah,
numbers and
yeah,
stuff? This
yeah,
is
the
all under?
VSA
Okay.
313, right.
And I'll second it.
The motion and the second. We are now in executive session.
Madam Mayor, what position, excuse me, what role does this employee have in the city?
The person right now is not working, is on a laid off position.
Is it what, sorry?
This person is on leave.
Tell me.
Okay, we are out of executive session, no action was taken. Okay. May I please have a motion for authority for the mayor to enter into a side agreement with an employee to be authorized once the employee approves the final agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second.
Can you give us some idea of what the side agreement pertains to?
The employee. Any discussion, council members? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, and the motion is carried.
Madam Mayor, what does that mean?
It's a side agreement with an employee on something that we needed to do that's confidential for the employee. That's why we were in executive session.
Side agreement meaning what? What does that mean, side agreement?
We have to have an agreement with the employee.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, new business. President Wilson,
None.
Councilman Charbonneau,
None, but,
go ahead,
but,
it's okay.
Ms.
You-
Peterson.
No, it's okay, we're here first. You can go ahead.
No, I have no other business.
Oh, okay. Councilman Rashad,
No, thank you.
Councilman Curtis,
No.
Ms. Tarian? Next agenda, old business. President Wilson,
None.
Councilman Charbonneau,
Yes. What is my question?
Yes, thank you.
okay, so I have to recognize you, so please go through this process and
Sure.
I will
Fine.
recognize you when appropriate. We're on, right now, we're on business.
No,
What? Okay. Councilman Curtis?
No, thank you.
Ms. Tarian?
Did you get
No,
Chris?
thank,
Mr. Vashon?
no, thank you.
Okay, before I go on to the mayor's business?
So, I'm sorry, just to clarify, I did raise my hand.
I didn't
at
see
the-
you and I
right,
apologize.
So I just want to clarify, I didn't just try to butt in.
I didn't, I think.
So I have, it's kind of a two-part question. One, you stated that the employee was laid off, and then you stated that he was on leave.
No, he was on
which is-
leave, I corrected myself, he was on
I
leave.
didn't hear you correct yourself. I'll have to check the tape. And then, if he's an employee, so he's laid off, so you're doing a
No,
side
he's on
agreement.
leave.
On leave. So you're doing a side agreement with someone who is on leave, who is an employee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. First, I hope everyone had a peaceful and a love-filled holiday. As we approach the new year and welcome Newport into 2024, I wanted to bring a bit of a recap to what's been happening during council meetings, with the hope that those in attendance will continue to participate in accordance with the rules so that there are no disruptions, and that the press will work to not only write what people say, but will perform due diligence so as not to give credence to those who make statements with the concept that they said it, therefore it is true and accurate. Newport deserves better. So let's welcome 2024 as a united city. The vast majority of those who attend city council meetings do so quietly and respectfully, and I thank you. You are the ones that understand that the meetings are to conduct city business for the benefit of the city of Newport. But then there are those who test the bounds of the First Amendment, the Brown Act, and local ordinances, and find glee in attempts to test the patience of elected officials at every turn. while each has his or her own specific reasons for coming to city council meetings. There appear to be disruptive personality types common to many cities. I actually found samples of such disruptive personality types in other writings, and I'm going to share them with you so that we can proceed into 2024 and move Newport forward. Let's move Newport away from past governance and into the future prosperous city that we need and that the residents want and voted for. That is why the majority voted to change leadership of Newport, and we can do this together. I'd like you to have a quick look at some of the disruptive personalities, and the authorship is given to several attorneys who did a presentation on this, is identified by other cities, and giving credit to the other writers that have identified these disruptive personality types that have actually surfaced, possibly in Newport City Council meetings themselves. First, we have the criticizer. This personality believes that the city council just can't get anything right. This personality type frequently denigrates the city council staff and other members of the audience without contributing constructively to the discussion of the matter at hand. For this personality type, nothing can be done correctly if it is done first by a city council. In addition, this personality type will speak frequently, sometimes on every item on an agenda, if for no reason other than to point out typographical errors in reports. Then we have the know-it-all. This personality type takes the position that the staff and council members are misleading you, so you should listen to them. This personality type will not necessarily chime in as often as the criticizer, but there will be significant information provided by this personality type that differs from the information being provided by the city staff or the proponents or opponents of a particular issue before council. The information often may be incorrect or even fanciful, but this personality type seems to sincerely believe that he or she knows more than those who have presented facts on a particular matter, and that this information is vital to correct a decision by the council, again, no matter how fanciful. Next is the amateur city attorney. This personality type takes positions similar to, I've conducted my own legal research. Your city attorney is committing malpractice. This personality type will frequently cite court cases, statutes, and other legitimate legal authorities in an attempt to sway the council, regardless of the inaccurate, unsolicited legal interpretations or positions stated. This personality type may even have formalized legal training, but should be distinguished from attorneys appearing before counsel on behalf of a client. This personality type tries to be intimidating because of the threats of lawsuits, reports to the district attorney or grand jury, or other legal action against the city. Bombardments of public records requests, no matter how frivolous, and numerous frivolous allegations of open meeting law violations. This personality type usually costs the citizens extensive and unnecessary monies and doesn't care when the citizens demand that they stop. Next is the camera panderer. This personality type beams of, I'm bringing up this issue for the folks at home watching tonight. This personality type is most easily identified by his or her ignoring the city council during public comment and facing the council in those council meetings with television cameras, even waving. This personality type will say just about anything to remain on the camera, often for the full allotted speaking time. The goal of this personality type is to maximize camera time, regardless of the issue at hand. Like the criticizer, this personality type will speak on many items on the agenda. Next is the meeting wrecker. This personality type thinks, I don't care what you say, mayor or council member, I'm taking all the time I need to address this issue, no matter how false or inaccurate my statements are. This personality type has one goal: to ensure a disruption of the city council meeting. This personality type will test every council regulation on public usage and threatening body movements. Of these personality types, this one is probably the least predictable, for although the end result can be predicted with some regularity, the actual means to reach that point are not capable of ready classification. And then finally, the character assassin. This personality type attempts to make statements claiming that the mayor is a thief, the city manager is a liar, the council members are untruthful and not capable, and the city attorney is a hired gun. This personality type requires thick skin. This personality type will focus solely on the personalities involved, not the issues. For this personality type, every decision, regardless of the issue, can be boiled down to some fatal flaw in the character of the person making it. Oftentimes, you will notice at the council meetings that the mayor merely thanks those for their comment and does not engage in conversation. Oftentimes, you will find statements being made that have a form of question that tries to couch the statements as though the information was accurate. For example, the mayor personally went into the website and made changes. Regardless of authorities allowed by the charter, these false statements become repetitive and slanderous, and the press actually reinforces these false remarks and enables these disruptive personalities by not vetting them. To engage in responses to statements that are untruthful or designed to merely promote people's own campaigning positions will not be part of the city council business. The city council is not the vehicle for campaigning for future seats, whether positive or negative campaigning. These council meetings are for city council business, and there is a need to correct so many mishaps and errors in policies and procedures that were lost under past leadership and are finally being identified and shared with the current council. These issues are being addressed and corrected, and policies are being put in place. This is a lot of work. More so because the work just doesn't focus on moving forward, but requires identifying the past non-disclosure errors and then correcting those as well, sometimes with the need for special council meetings. These misrepresentative statements have been quoted by the press, but once again, we need to be sure they are vetted for inaccuracies and accuracies. Thus, they will be left out there lingering repetitively for the residents of Newport to innocently read as though they were true. It is time to address everything in these difficult times. The mayor and the council members and the heads of the departments are addressing these issues, and I cannot thank these department heads enough and their staff. They have gone 100% full out to fix everything they can and keep your city running. So please, let's be better than this, Newport. 2024 is eagerly awaiting new business and economic development. Let's not fall back. Don't become one of the disruptive personality types, and let's not buy into gangbang theories. Nonsensical statements about dictators and inadequate council members are truly just that, nonsensical. Newport voted for movement forward with new leadership. Let's keep going in the proper direction. Let's make Newport far more than a drive-to city in 2024. Let's keep it as a drive-to city. Together and only united can we make it to be that drive-to city. I really want you all to have a happy new year, and I thank you and I trust those for your confidence. And I truly believe in my council members, and I know they are all doing a great job. Our treasurer is doing a fantastic job, and his staff, our comptroller and her staff, every single department head is working so hard. Please, let's go into 2024 and let's move forward together. Next item, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn the special council meeting at 9:32? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Happy.